Folks, thanks for joining us today. My name's John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next half hour or so, maybe a little less than that, discussing how we can use one of the tools made available to Premier Marketing's contracted agents without cost, the CSG software package that's part of our MedicareCENTER program, and specifically use that program's market edge to sell. And as we go through and demonstrate how this works, our guest presenter demonstrates how this works, I think you'll find the true value in the use of this system and appreciate the fact that, boy, it looks expensive. I don't have to pay for it. That's the way it works. So kind of a little bit of a level set on who Premier Marketing is for those who may be viewing this in the future, not part of our organization. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968 that's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform. We have offices across the country and offer insurance services to the public through independent agents such as yourself. Those contracts are available at the highest possible commission levels, with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. We do so through a complete portfolio of products that include the Medicare programs, the Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, PDP programs, which are really a core component of why we're doing today's presentation. But we also have life insurance and annuity products, a full portfolio of that, along with life insurance in the guise of final expense and pre-need programs. We also offer long-term and short-term care programs, disability income plans, and ancillary benefits, the dental, vision, hearing, critical cancer or critical illness cancer plans, hospital indemnity, accident and telehealth programs. This system is a great way to cross-sell as well. When we look at the overall marketing opportunity, we know how large it is, the aging of the baby boomers, everything we need to address the population. We also need to make certain we have a tool that will function for us both face-to-face and on a virtual basis, and you'll see that in just a moment. So as we speak of using CSG's Market Edge to sell, we're looking to make certain that we use this as an overall part of our planning process and our sales process. And remember that it is available without cost to you as part of the MedicareCENTER to give you access to electronic tools that can help you be more effective in your chosen market. And we do so in this instance to identify specific opportunities in our chosen market. We also use this to choose a market. So without further ado, let's look at how this planning tool, the Market Edge component with CSG Actuarial, will help us. We've invited one of our friends from CSG Actuarial to come and visit with us with a live demo of this program. And so Ms. Taylor McDonald, who's a business development manager with CSG Actuarial, is going to assume the helm here and give us a walkthrough as to this portion of the CSG tool and how it can work to our advantage. So I'm going to turn control over to Taylor. And Ms. McDonald, you have the helm.
Thank you so much, John. I'm so excited to share this great tool that's offered through the Premier suite of tools on the platform. This is definitely a tool that not everybody has access to, so it's very, very cool that Premier offers all their agents to have access to such a great tool. So on the dashboard where I am now, in order to get to this tool, you'll see it listed here under Tools. It's called Market Edge. We'll just click Run Search, and it will take us to our search page. And the greatest thing about Market Edge, we've had it around for a couple years now, but we did just add a brand new component, which is called the rate comparison. So you'll notice when you click Run Search under Market Edge, we have this tool here, as you can see it. But in the upper right-hand corner, we also have this option to switch to the rate comparison tool. So it's a two-in-one, if you will, and we'll walk through Market Edge first, and then we'll go into the rate comparison so we can see both of those. So basically, Market Edge is the ultimate sales and marketing research tool. So what it does is it allows you to create a visual output of the data and then create custom heat maps to understand the competitive landscape and also leverage millions of quotes run across the CSG quoting tools and carrier and demographic data to help you plan your sales strategy, as John said. It's really a tool to help you sell more. So it helps you plan out the best way that you can sell and increase your sales. So we'll start by creating a map here. We'll pick one state. Sometimes it's easiest for a quick example to show just one state. I'll select Nebraska. And the Market Edge tool is going to leverage the millions of quotes that are run across our platform. So we'll select one plan type here. We're going to leverage the quote history. So I'm going to pull in all quotes run in Nebraska for a Plan G. We'll do non-tobacco, age 65, and we'll do both male and female. So it'll be any male or female quotes run in Nebraska for a Plan G, age 65, non-tobacco. You'll notice that the quote date range defaults to the past month, but if you'd like to move this back further and maybe see any quotes run for these credentials in the past 4 months, maybe from January 1st of this year, you can certainly adjust your dates as you wish. We'll go ahead and do quote history with metrics. The metrics mean the carrier metrics, which include things such as the carrier competitiveness, like average annual rank, or the percentage of time the carriers in the top 5 or top 10, or the average monthly rank. So we want to make sure to select with metrics, and we'll go ahead and view this on a map. Once we've entered everything, we'll hit run search. It will just take a moment to load because every single time we run a search, it is pulling this brand new fresh data to create a brand new map for us. We'll just wait as this loads a moment here, and we're going to see a map of Nebraska as we entered. So as it loads in, it's starting to light up here. Wait a moment here. Looks like it's popping up on your screen. So we have the state of Nebraska, and of course we are seeing the MedSup quotes run. So the darker colors here are going to be higher quoting activity. So as we hover over this darkest area, it looks like it is zip 681. On the left-hand side here, you can see that it ranks it as the most quotes run. We can see that in this area in the past month, there were 363 quotes run. Again, it was for that female and male Plan G, non-tobacco. And it also shows us some demographic information there. So as you see in that white window that pops up, we have a population over 65 in this area and a population turning 65, and that of course is for the past month. And then we can also see the MedSup policyholder counts and Medicare Advantage enrollment counts. So this is a great way to really identify where the quotes are being run, so it can give you an idea of the competitive landscape, where the most amounts of quotes are being run. We have thousands of agents quoting on our platform. So it's a really good way to see that, and also see where there's maybe a gap in the number of people who are turning 65 or over 65, meaning they're Medicare eligible, and then between the policyholder count to see where we can maybe really target these areas and sell some more policies. So this would be the quote history piece of it. Of course, there is the metrics I mentioned. So in order to change the way the information is showing on this map, under the filter button, we can switch to maybe average annual rank. So if we want to see average annual rank, you can see my colors shift, and it's going to default to alphabetically the top plan or carrier here. So we have ARP alphabetically, but maybe we want to switch to a different plan. Maybe we want to see Lumico and their average annual rank, or we want to see the Capital Life. We can switch to any carrier we would like, and you can see the colors instantly change on this map. So here's a really unique carrier here for the state of Nebraska. If we have average annual rank for the Capital Life, you can notice that it's ranked very high here on these darker red colors. The average annual rank was 1.79 in the past year, meaning it was right around 1 or 2 for the most competitive plan or second most competitive plan in the past year. And as we hover over other areas, it's a little less competitive. So maybe over here it was between 3 and 4, but overall a very competitive carrier based on the past year. Again, average annual rank. So you can see that you can change a lot of different metrics here for the carrier competitiveness and change the carriers and see all this information in one place. Of course, you can always export these maps. So this is a planning tool, a sales and marketing strategy tool. You'd want to maybe run this ahead of time. And then we can always export this. So we can export just the numbers. If you're a data person, you want to crunch the numbers. Or we can do a PNG download, and you can download this image and have it at your fingertips. Maybe you want to run this every single month. You can run it monthly and check out where your carriers are competitive or where the most quotes are being run. So it's always an option to export this as well. So that's an overview of the Market Edge tool. Let's take us to the Market Edge rate comparison tool, which is the new piece. So we'll make sure we go back to our Market Edge and then click at the top, go to rate comparison. Again, this is going to pull in the current rate data. So the past rate data or the quote counts or the rate history, such as the average annual rank in the past, is going to be on the Market Edge tool. But this is probably the most popular new feature where it actually leverages the current rate data. So we switched over to rate comparison. You can see rate comparison at the top of my screen. Again, you can choose the state that you would like to see. We're going to do Nebraska again, just do one state for this example. And we want to make sure to select the effective date of the rate data. So if we want current rate data, we can leave that as today's date. We'll do a Plan G again, keep it simple here. We'll do non-tobacco, age 65, and let's do a female. And we can choose for the rate data if we would like the household discount applied, to include demographics or include select plans. I'll leave those as not applied, not included. And this is where we'll select our primary company. So our primary company here, let's do, again, I know the Capital Life is a competitive plan right now in Nebraska, so I'll select them. And then I can choose if I want to compare the Capital Life against a few other carriers. Maybe I just want to compare them against about 5 other carriers. I can select them here. Or I can do select all to compare this carrier against all other carriers in the state. So I'll select all, and then we can choose our comparison values, which you will see in a minute. It really indicates how the map is colored. So red to yellow and then to green. So we'll go ahead and generate this map once everything is in here, and it will make a little more sense once we can see a visual of this map. I'll go ahead and generate this map for us. It's going to build in Nebraska. Again, this is based on the current rate data. So a great way to use this is to identify where a new carrier or market entrant is competitive and target that area. So as we can see, we see a lot of green here in the state of Nebraska. That's great to see. This means that where it's green, it is the lowest premium in the lowest plan in this area. So anywhere it's green in the state of Nebraska, we can see it's the most competitive plan. And it tells us here the premium difference is by $2.48. So that means the Capital Life is the most competitive plan. It beats the next plan by $2.48. As we move to a yellow area, you can see on the key that it shows it's the lowest premium. It's within $5 of the lowest premium. So it's only off by 74 cents in this area from the most competitive plan. So this gives us a snapshot, and it shows us in the whole state, this carrier is very competitive, but it's actually not the most competitive plan in the Omaha metro area. So it also helps us identify areas in the state that you should be targeting and maybe understand where pockets of opportunity are. If you're licensed with a certain carrier and maybe there's a red area where they're $10 higher than the lowest plan, you'd want to make sure to target the areas where that carrier is most competitive rather than just blasting the whole state. So it gives you a visual snapshot without having to run a quote in every single one of these zip codes. So that would be the rate comparison tool. Again, another way to use this is to see where carriers are competitive in your area that you should maybe be contracted with. So if you run a quote in the regular quoting tool and you see that there's a carrier that's at the very top of the list that maybe you're not contracted with, maybe you should reach out to Premier and get contracted with that carrier and check out in your state where they're most competitive. You can also run these searches for the entire country. So of course I just did a smaller scale here with one state, but you can do this search with the entire country and we can take a peek at that and see what this looks like. This would really show you where to get licensed in certain states. Maybe there's a carrier that's very competitive and hot in some states, but it's not as competitive in other states. So we can take a peek at what this would look like. So let's quickly pull in one more plan. We'll do a non-tobacco, age 65. Let's do a female again. We'll go ahead and stick with Plan G. And again, some of these drop downs will continue to load because it's waiting to see what I enter on these other drop downs to know what plans are available. So we just have to wait a couple moments while this loads. Same thing goes with the companies. It's waiting to see what plan type and other information I enter to see which companies come up. So if a company doesn't have a Plan G, it's not going to come up down here, which is nice. It won't throw you off. So we'll just wait for that to load here. So again, if I select a Plan G, it's not going to pull in any companies down here that don't offer that plan. So it just takes a second to update and refresh so it knows what companies would be available based on the information I entered up top. Let's take a look at Lumico maybe. Let's see where they're competitive in the entire country, and we'll compare it against all their plans, and we'll leave these at 5 and 10. Again, if you would like to show a map and you think that really maybe $7 to $10 is more realistic, you think $7 isn't too terrible of a difference, you can always adjust those numbers at the bottom to see different colors on the map. These are also a great way to educate agents. If you're working with agents or a new group of agents that are coming on board, it's a great way to blast out these maps and show them different areas where they should be targeting. So it looks like we're getting a pretty colorful map in the background. Again, it is loading as we enter these credentials and parameters to the map. It does build it in real time right before our eyes. So you're always getting a fresh new map. You can always save these searches. So on the left-hand side of your screen, if this is a search you want to run maybe every month, you can just click Save Search and then pull in your saved searches when doing a new map, so you don't have to worry about re-entering the information every single time. And again, you can always export these maps as well. So it's a great piece to keep these as visuals or to save these to your desktop, and you can always reference these maps rather than having to run them time and time again. You can just keep them as an export. But it's very, very interesting to be able to see the competitive landscape in a quick snapshot on a map view without having to run a quote in all these states. So a very colorful map here. That's what is a good example here of how a carrier can be very competitive in some areas and not so much in others. So again, we did this for Lumico across the entire country. You can see in Wyoming, Lumico is very competitive. It's the top plan. Other areas, it's red, meaning that it's more than $10 within the lowest plan in that area. And it looks like it's off by $13.23 in this particular zip code. The gray is going to be where the carrier's not sold, so maybe a state where they're not selling. So that's another great way to see where a carrier is sold on a map view. So again, a very colorful map. This speaks to why it's so important to know where a carrier is competitive. If you're in Wyoming and they're the top plan and Lumico is really hot in that state, you don't want to just assume that you can just turn around and go to Colorado, which is maybe your next door neighbor, and sell them a Lumico plan. It's not as competitive in every state, so it's why it's so important to know your competitive landscape and understand where carriers are most competitive. So that concludes a high-level overview of this tool. There's a lot of data there, so if you ever have a question about how to find certain pieces of information or how to run a certain report, certainly don't be a stranger to reach out. We're always happy to walk through examples of searches and how you can best identify how you can locate areas where you should be targeting and then helping you sell more. John, I'll turn it back over to you.
Awesome, Taylor. I've got 3 different points that we need to illustrate, if we may. One of them is we get questions in as to why is it important to look at number of quotes. And I think part of that is because the system's used by so many different people, and it gives someone an indication of where market pressure is, perhaps. Your thoughts on that?
That's absolutely correct. It's very important to understand where quotes are being run. It really gives you an idea of where agents are quoting. And it's important to also note that we work with a lot of different FMOs and also independent agents alike. So we actually leverage this information across our entire platform. So when you're seeing quote information, it's not just quotes that are run on Premier's platform, it's also quotes that are run on all of our different platforms that we offer. So it's good to see that you can actually see maybe where your competitors are running quotes. So you may not be targeting a certain area, running a lot of quotes there, but you can see where everybody using the CSG quoting tool are running quotes. So it gives you a little bit of peek at what your competitors are doing perhaps. You can't see who's running these quotes, but again, as you mentioned, it gives you a really clear understanding of where quotes are being run and how much pressure is in an area.
I think that's important because CSG is the big gorilla in this space, and it is the tool of choice for many agents. So you're getting live data with whatever parameters you set on that quote date range, and I think that's very important. Thank you for the clarification. I want to throw out a couple of different things to look at here really quickly, and that's the fact that the demonstration that Taylor ran was on T65s. And a lot of times now, that's an area of concentration for folks before lock-in and some of the nature of that. But keep in mind, as we go into planning for open enrollment, yeah, I know we're just still in April, but many folks will then change that date for a future date to see if there are filed rates that will make a difference on a med-sup, particularly as we go into areas and market during open enrollment and how that can affect our success during that very hectic time, which MedSups aren't locked in the same manner as Medicare Advantage plans, but we see a large number of them sold during open enrollment as part of the examination process of coverage. So that's a really neat component to use on it as well. And it gives us an indication of, okay, we need to do this for what we're doing now and in the future, and as the dates progress, because rates change as well. So those are a couple things I just wanted to point out that kind of combined a few questions together. So I'm going to take back control of the helm and just close up for today. Taylor, thank you for that demonstration. Much appreciated. And you'll see that this tool and the support that is provided by CSG can make this an invaluable tool for you in your planning process, not only for what carriers you have, the rates that are there, but looking into the future a little bit and how it can affect your business moving forward. We want to make certain that you realize that some of this is a direct result of your contract with Premier Marketing, because as Taylor mentioned, this particular component is fairly uncommon for organizations to offer without charge to their contracted agents, and that makes a nice difference in the total use of a tool that may be available some other places in just one or two components, or you may purchase it yourself as well, which you can, but it's available without cost through us. And we do all this simply because we want your business. We feel that the Medicare space is obviously one of the hottest spaces for agents to operate in and makes a big difference for all of us combined. And we feel that by offering tools such as the CSG's Market Edge without cost to you can make a big difference in not only your sunk costs, so to speak, but how you have to pay as you go along. Available for you without cost through our organization. We feel this is a very valuable component for you as part of your personal marketing plan, both now for current activity, and then as we get closer to open enrollment and we'll see MA carriers start to come out with information with next year's benefits, it gives us an indication of how we can best combine our efforts. There are agents that will concentrate in MedSup. There are some that concentrate on Medicare Advantage. This tool will work in both those scenarios, but also for the folks that look at the full spectrum of coverage for your prospects and clients. And we'd like to help you get along in that process and make certain that this becomes part of your planning for today's activity and that in the future. So all that said, you can reach any of us here at Premier at 1-800-365-8208. You're working with a marketer. They'll help you walk through some of this. If you are new to our organization, we'll have a marketer assigned to you to make certain that we can make this a true valued component of your overall marketing plan. You can also get some information off of our website for this at premiersmi.com and watch for some follow-up that we'll send. And we'll also make certain that we reach out to you to answer any questions that you might have concerning the use of this tool and other programs we have to help ensure your success in the Medicare and ancillary space. So that said, we want to thank Ms. Taylor McDonald for her demonstration. We want to thank you for investing your time with us here today. We thank you for our past relationship, if applicable, the business that you've sent our way. And for those of you that are investigating where to put contracts, this is one of the reasons why Premier Marketing can be your home in this space. So all that said and done, until we're able to speak again, we wish you good selling. Thanks so very much, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Taylor.